break. I mean, as far as we're concerned, but not for you, I'm sure. How have you spent that time? What's it been like working with the lads who've been here and then dealing with the ones coming back who've been busy?
Yeah, good. Initially after the game, we gave everyone a few days. I think it's best to do that early on, and then we can get back to work. So it was nice to be able to freshen up a few days, see the family, and that was great. And then the training week has been really positive, been really good, been a good energy around, been really good intensity, good reaction from the game, which is what you want heading into what is a really, really big game, an exciting one for us as well. We've had David back, but the other three lads who we haven't seen yet, we're training this afternoon, so looking forward to seeing them.
Have you got any knocks and niggles from people coming back, and what about the existing injuries that you had? Where are you at?
Doing pretty well. Dara and George are still out. Obviously, we know they're a little bit longer, but Riley's been training now consistently for a couple of weeks, which is great. And I think Sanji had a little bit of a shoulder one out with Curacao, so we'll see how he rocks up. But other than that, everyone's fine.
I saw Sverre Nifan saying in an interview that it'd be a bit of a shock to the system coming here with how hard he had to work in training. He felt his fitness had really improved. What are you putting the players through that he feels like?
Oh, it's hard. Yeah, I'm not a nice person. This is all like for show now here, and I'm a different guy. No, we want intensity, and we believe that we're at our best when we have that, and we need to be able to train as we play. That's all. We'll try and control what the loading. Obviously, that's the word that everyone uses now. We'll try and control how long they work for, but when we are working, give us everything.
And Ipswich, tough challenge, they're in good form, recently a Premier League side. What kind of challenge do you see them posing? Yeah,
obviously a really difficult game. Their squad is as good as anything in the league. Obviously Kieran's a really, really good manager, and they provide maybe the toughest test that we've had so far. Obviously we'll concentrate on ourselves, but clearly we've got to look at them as well. They're very good players all over the pitch. They've done a fantastic job in recent years, and probably after a little bit of a period of still working things out after a lot of change, which I can appreciate. They're going to be right there. So a really difficult game, but an exciting one for us as well. It's not going to be hard to get up for this one. Ipswich under the lights at the Riverside on a Friday night. It's pretty good.
All right, Rob, thank you.
Thank you.
Rob, you kind of touched on it there, how you were pleased with how the players responded to the defeat first week of the season. Kind of how, can you talk us through kind of the lessons learned from that?
Yeah, I think we're at our best when we play with real intensity, and our levels probably just dropped. It'd been a difficult week. There's no excuses, but it was Southampton and Stoke physically were really, really hard games. And then the third one of the week down to Portsmouth again, obviously going down there. It was difficult, and then giving them the sort of the lead in the way that we did, we allowed them to be able to sort of shop a little bit, and then we just didn't have the intensity on the day to break them down, and didn't show enough. So obviously you can have all the ball that you want, but then you've got to make it happen, and we didn't do that. But that's all right. It's up to us to be able to learn from it and improve. and it probably gives us a little bit of a nice focus again going into this next block of games. We want to keep our resilience. We're one of, if not the best team from a defensive point of view. They've been really, really good, really solid. The lads have worked incredibly hard. But then we want to try and find that balance to the game as well, which is what everyone wants. That's probably the hardest bit.
I think you're in an international break. It's a chance to sort of take stock a little bit. What has been the thing you've been happiest about so far this season?
Well, look, we've accrued a decent amount of points, and we're building something which I think we can all feel. It's nice. There's a good energy around the place, which is really positive. That's really important. And I like us from in many aspects of the game. What I want us to try and do is continue to be, like I said, really sound defensively, and then sort of open it up, take the handbrake off a little bit as well, and really cause more problems on at the top end of the pitch as well, which we're capable of doing. We've done that in certain periods of games, and recently as well. The first half against Stoke was really, really good. Second half against Southampton was very good, but probably had one little sticky one against Portsmouth for a few different reasons, and that's it. So, like I said, that balance is the key. But I'll say it again. The lads have, as always, to be honest, they give absolutely everything every day. So they're a pleasure to work with, and response has been really good.
To touch on just the timing of the game, Friday after an international break, does that kind of bring its own challenges? Obviously, Aidan Morris was about 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday, I think. So it's
some of them he's not arrived back yet. I'm not sure he's landed in the country, yet still. So he's still travelling, and there's one or two others that will obviously report back today. Sonji will be later on as well. So it's the same for both teams going into it, but it does provide a bit of a different challenge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rob, you've spoken a lot about consistency and your standards and your intensity. How are you going to make sure that this sort of the biggest setback that you've had this season doesn't knock on that confidence or that progression that you're making?
That's one game. Over 46 games, you're going to get knocks. Some of the best teams in the world recently have lost games of football. It can happen, believe it or not. And it happened to us, so we've got to just deal with it, take it on the chin, understand why, which I think we have done, but also realise that there's been a lot of good stuff going on as well. So it's important to keep a balanced view, really. I think in my eyes and my role. So we've been doing this very well. We want to try and keep moving this forward and keep improving, and it will still take time, because there has, whether we like it or not, there has been quite a lot of change as well for us, and a lot of new players, and then some of those new players have been away again, so it will take a bit of time to continue to build that rapport between the players as well. But I think it's important that we stress that, lads, you've done great so far. That's a little bit of we've lost the game, which can happen. Congratulations to Portsmouth, they deserved it, and we didn't. That's it. Let's go and get back on the horse and go again on Friday night.
Do you think the international break came at a good time?
It came when it came. It was fine. If we'd had to go again after Portsmouth, we'd have been fine. It allowed us, like I said, to have a little bit of a refresh, a few days off, and then get some good work in as well. So it didn't matter when it came. It just did. So that doesn't change our thinking in any way.
You mentioned Ipswich and the strong attacking intent. You mentioned Borough's defensive record. How important is it that the Riverside continues to be that fortress that you want it to be?
Yeah, we all want it to be that, don't we? We all want it to be that, and that'll take every one of us, all of the supporters, obviously all the staff, and the lads themselves that go over the line and do it. And we can all help each other. It'll be a really challenging game. There's no doubt. At times we're going to have to be really solid. Have to put bodies on the line. We're going to have to be really resilient, and then we've got to try and make them do the same stuff as well, and try and stretch and test them. So yeah, we're looking forward to that challenge, because this will be a really good benchmark. I think they're as I say, a very, very good team. So we've got to try and keep that good stuff going, and try and cause them problems at the other end as well.
You've talked a lot about engagement with the fans this week. You've been out and about again with the fans. What were some of the key takeaways that you took from that night?
I just think everyone's so desperate for us to achieve something this season. I feel that. I can feel that. So it really matters to a lot of people, and I suppose that's the hardest part about this job. It's like you want to be able to deliver something, be part of delivering something for everyone, making everyone proud. But that's the one bit we can't guarantee. I wish I could, because it really matters to everyone, but that's the one bit we can't, unfortunately. All I can promise is that we're going to give everything to try and do that.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Is Riley available to play or in contention?
Look, he can be part of the group, there's no doubt about it, but he's obviously been training now fully for a week, 10 days fully, and he's been out for a period of time, hasn't he, as well, so clearly he's short on game match minutes, but in terms of training and doing everything, he's there now.
I can't avoid the obvious cliche, like a new signing, because you haven't had him playing for you in a competitive game yet, and he's shown in the past year what a major force he can be.
Yeah, he's looked great. he was always a brilliant trainer, in those early days of pre-season for us as well. So I know the qualities Riley's got, and obviously going against him, I know how good a player he is, and he's a good guy to have around as well. He sets standards. He's a brilliant professional. So of course he'll help the group.
With Aidan, I know obviously you haven't had a chance to catch up with him yet. Is there an element of not letting him decide whether he wants to play, but putting it in his hands in terms of, how is he, how does he feel before you make a decision?
Look, that in the end has to come down to me. But Aidan is Aidan, so he's desperate to play all the time, every minute of every game, for us and for the US. So that will never change with him, because that's just the type of character he is. That's why we love him. But we'll make we'll make decisions. Clearly, I'm not going to be able to talk about what we're going to do with the team now. But he's been brilliant for us so far this season.
And just ask about Hayden. Obviously, it's no secret that Ipswich wanted him in the summer. How significant was it keeping him?
Yeah, look, it was probably a really testing time for H, and he had some big decisions to make. And if I'm being honest, I understood it, and it wasn't a case of me every day badgering him to say, it wasn't. I understood it, and we had to kind of let him work through it. He showed a lot of maturity during that time, and this club clearly means a lot to him. It does, and I think he's shown that with his performances, and the fans have shown their love for him as well in return. But look, clearly there was interest in him because he's a really good player. But that doesn't make tomorrow night any. I think it's just another game for him.
Now in the summer there was several high-profile examples, weren't there, of players maybe acting in a way that fans weren't comfortable with, understandably. Now the dust has settled, looking back, how impressed were you with the way he dealt with it? Because, when you take football out, he's still a kid, really.
He's a young man, and there's a lot going on. I think he dealt with the whole thing really well, real maturity, because it was difficult for him. And none of us can get into his brain and know exactly what he's thinking, but I remember talking to him after one of the games. I can't remember which one it was. Just saying how proud I was of him, with everything that was going on, for him to be able to deliver the level of performances that he's done. Not everyone can do that, and obviously people have shown a different way of behaving or whatever during that window. But I know what I'd want from my players, and I thought H was a brilliant example.
And on the pitch, how impressed have you been with him, and how good can he be moving forward? Yeah,
I think he's been great. I think he's felt one or two niggles in recent weeks, and I think he'll say himself that he can probably rediscover what he had in those first 5 or 6 games again. But I think he's a really good player. Where do I think he can get to? I think the sky is the limit for him. I really do. I think he's got so many strings to his bow. But there's areas of his game that he knows he wants to try and together we want to try and help him to keep working on as well. But he's a brilliant person. He is like a bit of an inspiration for the lads as well. He's it's nice that he's a local guy and he's come through and all that. It's a great story. But he's just a really good footballer and a really nice lad.
And just finally from me, you alluded to it there when you mentioned Ipswich, that when you come down from the Premier League Championship, it's not easy just to flick a switch and start winning a game. Just talk a bit more about that, because I guess, I don't mean this as a criticism, but when you get into a losing habit, how difficult is it then to just turn that round and start winning games?
Well, yeah, it can be, and it was difficult for us. I think our situations were different. Obviously, the same thing happened. We both got promoted and then went down, but we probably did things a bit of a different way to them. And I think they'd, a lot of change happened at their place when they got promoted, and maybe they're preparing for this event. I don't know, because I wasn't, obviously not part of what they did, but they were almost ready for this eventuality as well. So they got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of good players, but yeah, like anything, it can affect people. You see the bright lights, and they see the part of that sort of global league, and everyone loves it, and everyone's giving everything every single week, and then it can change mindset a little bit. But as I say, like, I'm watching them and I don't see a real shift in them. I can just see a really good team.
And for you, having been there, does it just make you even more hungry to get back?
Yeah, of course, but it's a long way off, and it's really early days. But we're at a football club that kind of demands that as well, that we're there and competing, which was obviously the big draw for me to come here. So we all know where we want to try and be. Whether we can do that is obviously another thing. We can't. That's the bit we said we can't guarantee it, but we'll try our best.
Thank you.
Just picking back up on Riley McGree, Robert, something you said before the break about him was that he can have quite a hybrid role in the team, and obviously we've seen him, I know you like players who can play multiple roles, and we've seen him in Middlesbrough play centre mid, but also kind of on that forward line as well. Do you have in mind kind of where you see Riley fitting into the...
Yeah, we've talked about that quite a lot. He is certainly someone, because he's really intelligent and he's good technically. He can fit for us in different positions, whether a wider one coming in, a midfield position, a attacking midfielder, if you like. It makes it really interesting for us. He's a really good connector, Riley, and sort of as soon as he drops into those training sessions, you can see straight away that the pictures that he sees, and you can see his quality. So he gives us really nice, and especially when he's at full tilt, he's going to give us a really nice problem.
Yeah, but you mentioned the word connector there. Could that be a kind of big factor in terms of when we talk about getting that attack going and causing more threat at that time? Could that be a big factor?
It could be. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he can contribute to that as well. But we've got others with Sfera and David and Sonji, Morgs. There's a lot of lads that can help and do that. That's an area that we're going to obviously continue to try and find out. We've had really good examples of it already this season, and but he's no doubt about it. That's where his sort of skill set is, and he can help with that.
Yeah, obviously we'll speak about the attack, but just before that, I mean, the defence, obviously the success that we've enjoyed so far this season has been built really on the solid foundations at the back. How important is it to kind of, not forget that or not ignore that and in focus too much on trying to improve the attack? Yeah,
the big message this last couple of weeks has been, look, this is really good. And we all need a foundation. We need to have a stability there. I don't think any team is going to be at the right end of the table without having those solid foundations. But then you've got to find the balance, the word that I keep talking about at the moment as well. So I think that's clearly really, really important. We've got to celebrate that. We've got to have that, because every team that I know, really, I'm trying to think of it now, that will have success is going to have that side to their game. So yeah, we've got to celebrate that. We've got to enjoy it. We've got to continue to keep rewarding that, and however we go about things, that side of it has got to remain, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and when we think about the attack, I mean, we've spoken before about how that was obviously where most change happened in the summer for new arrivals. So as players, they're all trying to gel together. But how much as well is it a factor for you and the coaching team, kind of trying to find the right blends and getting to know what works best for each individual?
Yeah, I still think it's a strength, but people then can perceive it in different ways. I don't know, but it'll be really difficult, I think, even in 20 games time, to be able to say that's our team, because I think we've got different strengths and different types of players on that top line. But I kind of want that as well. I want people to make it really difficult for me to pick the team. I've got some real headaches for this game, and I want that. So I've had in the past a couple of teams that have almost picked themselves, which is good. But then you can be turning around and going, right, well, how am I affecting it now as well? And I've not really got that problem now. I think we've got some really good not issues, but problems, if you like, where you go, okay, well, we can do this, we can do that. So it might be even in 20 games time, we're still going, right, it could be him, which I think is a real strength.
Yeah, and just finally, in recent games, Tommy Collins kind of moved out into one of the more deeper forward roles. I guess earlier in the summer you mentioned that you saw him more as a 9, and I guess there's a lot of that in terms of what he can provide out of possession as well for you.
Mm-hmm.
But in time, as more players kind of get up to speed and learn what you're expecting of them, is the preference to get Tommy back to the 9?
I think there's no doubt that's where his strongest position is. But you hit the nail on the head. You know, he's so reliable as well with other things, and he's shown really good intelligence and selflessness as well, and to be able to shift a little bit. We still want him. The message is still to be the 9, especially when the ball's on the other side of the pitch. But yeah, there's no doubt his role has slightly tweaked when he's in that one. But yeah, look, Tommy's all about the team, and you know. But what we'll always try and do is get the best out of everyone when they're on the pitch.
Cheers.
While the break was on, Aidan Hackney picked up another award from the Supporters Club for Young Player, but he was actually joint with Aidan Morris. What is that a great plus to have 2 great young players in the engine room of the team? Yeah,
brilliant. I mean, we want a young, dynamic team, but with a mixture of that experience. I think in the right areas. Which I think we've got. But the game is only getting quicker. There's no doubt about it. I was talking about this last night. So you do need that dynamism. You do need fresh legs to be able to compete now. So yeah, they're important. But obviously they can both play. They're not just runners. They can both play very well as well.
And the 5 substitutes must contribute to the game being quicker, does it not?
Yeah, I think that does. But the game is only going to go one way. It's only going quicker. It's like every sport, isn't it? Just every sport gets faster, and whether that's technology, whatever it is that helps, the pitches are going to improve. It's only going one way. But the game's getting quicker, and it's probably getting quicker, quicker than what humans are actually evolving. Do you know what I mean? So we're still the same as we were 20 years ago, human beings, but the game's getting quicker, the demands are getting higher, there's more games, all of that sort of stuff. So it's we're asking a lot of them.
Talking about the break, Sverre Naipan got his first full cap. That will bring a lot more confidence for him, won't it? Coming back to the team. I
would have thought so. I don't know. I'm not sure how it will affect him, but I took him a text and said, nice congratulations message. He seemed really, really happy. It's a proud moment for him and his family, and we're really pleased and proud for him.
And did this break give you a chance to sort of step away a little bit? Because you said about the week before there was 3 games in those 8 days. Did that give you a chance to?
Yeah, it was good. Had a few days with the family. Managed to get a bit of downtime, which was lovely, which was great, and it's always needed. Had a bit of freshen up for a couple of days, and then back to it, which was very much welcome.
And finally, just that on tomorrow, probably 28,000 full house in Ipswich. Big top of the table clash. Is that what it's all about for you and the players and everybody?
Yeah, it is. It's really exciting. Like I said, they're a really good team. They're bringing all. They've packed out their end. And we're going to have a great support here. The place will be bounced, I'm sure. We've got to hold our end of the bargain up. Go out there and try and deliver a performance. Really looking forward to the game.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you.